The following podcast has been brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up now using the URL audibletrial.com/TTV to get a free audiobook of your choosing. We recommend Brick by Brick, How Lego Rewrote the Rules of Innovation and Conquered the Global Toy Industry. You may recognize this as one of the sources we use in our show, BIONICLE Autopsy. Remember, that's audibletrial.com/TTV. Enjoy the show. Everybody get ready to say sync when I finish counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sync!
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 111 of the TTV Podcast.
Mardi Gras! Oh my god!
What the heck, Viper? I think...
Dang, Viper!
I think you're a little too excited today.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Just to wake
I've
everybody
never heard
up.
that voice come out of you.
So how's everybody doing today?
Jeez.
Oh, pretty good. You know,
Pretty good.
first week of school. That's always not fun in the slightest.
College has been pretty great for me so far. Way better than high school. High school was basically a concentration camp, minus the killing. But,
Wow.
And the Nazis. That might have been something too. Weren't any Nazis in high
he's
school?
not saying that concentration camps are solely Nazis.
Well, that's fair, but like when you think of concentration camps, really only one group of people that come to mind.
The Japanese.
Yes, the Japanese. The Japanese
So
are the
anyway.
most known for concentration camps.
So anyway, how's
No,
the weather?
the U.S. The U.S. had concentration camps with Japanese in it.
Right, they're
Oh,
known.
well, actually, I guess it was technically internal.
The Google Google Studios, right? That's what else they consider concentration camps.
History, guys, history. You guys need to take some history classes. Oh, wait, I forgot. Viper's in England, so they don't teach history there.
Well, actually,
yeah,
we do.
teach, like they teach King Arthur and Robin Hood.
They
That's
teach
about
all
it.
the good stuff that happened in England. They do not tell us about the American Revolution. It's kind of like a taboo subject in history class. You end up getting thrown out the window.
In America, it's always like, all right, and the founding fathers sat down, they wrote the Declaration of Independence, hoorah, America! And England's like, well,
They rode on eagles firing machine guns.
England's like firing fireworks into the sky, scaring off the British. And then, like, I would assume in
Paul
England, just
Revere
kinda
was
like,
on
well,
a freaking
This is-
Pegasus.
this
there
is
was like,
what-
calling
there's
out,
just
the British are coming.
a group of people that just left us, and that was that. You know, they just kind of went and did their own thing. You know,
This-
nothing too big.
This is what history class in England's like. Okay, Henry VIII, he killed all his wives. He beheaded one. He one of them died. One of them survived. One was divorced. And yes, they all died in the end. The family got completely obliterated off the
Well,
face of the earth. Now we're going to write
I
a
mean-
two-page long essay, and I want it in from tomorrow. Otherwise, you're screwed, and I will throw you out the window.
Wait,
Your
why?
Windows, Viper.
Yes, I love windows.
The
Windows are pretty grand.
Window jumping is an
divorce-
extreme sport in England.
Divorced, remarried, died, divorced, remarried, and survived.
The thing,
Yeah,
the thing that
divorced,
gets me about
married,
history
died,
class, especially the
divorced,
American Revolution, is that it's always so one-sided. They make it seem like the British were just evil people.
Oh yeah, no, it's like no
It's like,
taxation
how
without
dare they
representation.
try to tax? How dare they try to tax their supplies? I mean, geez, it's not like we do that or anything.
How dare they smuggle tea onto our American soil? How dare they?
I mean, there's like the amount of like Revolutionary War stuff in America is just crazy because our
Meanwhile,
history
we
only
just
goes
kinda-
back 200 years, basically.
We just kind of skim over the part where we take British people and just like tar and feather them. And
Yeah, I
we
know,
skip-
that's kinda
we
skimmed
skip over
over.
how like painful and agonizing of a death that actually is.
Yeah, there's like that whole thing that like modern British people are like that now. It's like all these McDonald's and Indian shops around being taken over by different people. Ugh. I'm just like, it's life. You know? It really is
I
modern
think,
life,
like,
people.
America is all
So-
about the
Mixed
revolution.
culture.
Like, yes, us versus them, and then it's like slavery. You're like, yeah, let's overlook all that stuff in the Revolutionary War. But hey, don't get me started on World War II.
Oh.
If you hear any American history representation of World War II, it's like the entire world was screwed, and then
Until
America showed
America
up.
jumped in.
Yeah,
It's like
okay.
they bombed Pearl Harbor, and that was it. We were like, no,
We were like,
no.
oh, that's it. This war is done now. America's stepping in.
Hey.
Everybody, mount your eagles.
Mount your eagles and your machine guns to your eagles, and let's ride into.
It's like the Lee Koro Nuirama battle.
Right, we
Yes.
weren't subtle about it either. The first issue of Captain America is Captain America running over and just punching Hitler in the face. He just goes and he just does that.
What kind of podcast is this?
Talking about history, Meso. History. You know, flying eagles with machine guns.
Yeah, true to life.
Exactly. So, I mean, school started for just about everybody, right? Meso, you back in school?
Yup.
And I know Var and me are in college. Is this your first week, Var?
No, this is coming up to my 3rd week now
Oh.
of college.
Alright,
How
I
would
just
you
started
say it
Monday.
is thus far?
It's pretty awesome. I don't remember if I talked about college at all in past TTV episode or
You did
anything,
not.
but,
The only thing you talked about was your book.
Yeah.
Dilemma.
right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm just currently at a community college right now until I transfer over to a university. But it's way cooler than high school was. That's for sure. It's located downtown. So a bunch of big buildings and everything, and it's cool.
Oh,
There's a lot of
nice.
people I recognize and stuff. During breaks, there's literally like a comic book store and then a guitar store and like a GameStop, not even 10 minutes away. I can walk to it and back. So it's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
nice. It's much nicer than my community college.
Also,
We're in
right
the middle
next
of
to a
nowhere.
giant lake where a lot of movies and TV shows are filmed too. So like, there's an awesome view.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Classes are really easy too.
What
So,
kind of classes you got?
I got just most of them are required. I got a required math class, a required English class, which is writing and inquiry, which seems cool, I guess. We're just writing essays basically. That's it.
English
That's
101 or
okay.
English 102?
English 111.
111.
111.
Wow.
Plot twist.
Well, yeah, I was able to skip a bunch of English classes because my grades were decent in high school. So, so yeah, English 111, and then I have art, drawing 1, and a guitar class, music 1. So,
Okay. That's pretty good. I've got, let's see. I've got mobile and web development. I've got operating systems. I got software development and accounting.
yeah. See, now my college has a lot of cool classes like that, but a lot of them, like, I have to take a lot of the classes I'm taking right now are required to access the cooler classes.
No, it was exactly that same way when I first started doing stuff.
Messa, you were dropping the ball.
Hey, there was never a window.
Okay, well. in
Well,
case you
I haven't started
noticed-
school yet.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Poor Viper.
So, yeah, Viper, how's your school
Who cares
going?
about Viper School? Let's introduce ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well,
without further ado, I'm Messinek.
I'm Vardaran.
I'm LJ. Oh, wait, no, I'm Kahi.
I'm Viper.
And this is TTV episode 111. The episode where we're just going to talk about stuff.
This is
Right,
already a
news.
fiasco.
Well,
News
there's actually quite a lot of news.
Man,
But
this
we'll-
episode sucks.
We'll get
This
to
is
that.
already a fiasco.
Viper, you kill every episode.
What's a
you do.
fiasco? Well, what is, like, how is this a fiasco?
Because
We've
I'm
had
in
some
it.
fiascos. This is not a fiasco. This is nice and chill.
It's because I'm in it.
Completely right. Just jump out that window now, please.
Well, you wouldn't do. I wouldn't.
But make sure you send me your audio first.
Yeah, if you're gonna jump out the window, film it and make sure it uploads. And
Well-
then you die.
It wouldn't be
Only then you have my
particularly
permission.
suicidal because there is no second floor or first floor. There's a ground floor in this house, and that's it. So I'd literally be falling from 1 meter.
You just flop out your window.
Goodbye,
Hit
cruel
face
world!
first.
And I just jump
Everybody
down.
do the flop.
I like how we're having a discussion about like a potential Viper suicide here.
I like live stream
we're
it.
just casually throwing that out. So what about Robin Williams, guys? Too soon?
Oh Jesus!
Too soon?
All right,
God.
we'll talk about that.
I watched Mrs.
Okay.
Doubtfire yesterday.
I've never watched that movie. I only know about it because of How I Met Your Mother had that one skit, like Mrs. Stinsfire. And that's the only reason I know anything about Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right.
Um,
So would you like to go ahead and move us on into the news?
Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. I guess the first thing that we can talk about, several days ago, we released the breaking news video about BIONICLE's proposed release date. By the time this goes live, it will have been several days, and that's a pretty interesting thing we can talk about right off the bat, because a poster on our forum elaborated a bit more on the issue. And for those that did not watch that video, basically, Exo6, the forum leader of the French Bionicle site Bionifigs, claims that Bionicle will be released in February 2015. And as the Toa Zanu brought to our attention on the forum, apparently Exo6 seems to have had a similar source in the past, because not only did Bionifigs leak the Legends of Chima 2013 Ultra builds, he also made a near-exact mock of the Queen Beast from Hero Factory before the pictures were ever leaked. Which is interesting, and this is just according to the Toa Zanu. I have not seen this, I don't know the circumstances, but it's something to keep in mind. This guy may have some sources, after all. So, what do you guys think about this February 2015 release date? Were you hoping it'd be out by Christmas? Does this affect you at all?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping it'd be here by the end of this year, but I guess it makes more sense to want to release it towards February, though. The interesting thing about it, though, is that I'm wondering what their plan, like, release scheduling is for the series as a whole, because February seems kind of like an odd time to release
that's true.
a wave.
We're gonna have to hold out the hype train for now.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's always been like winter, summer, that kind of thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess this is technically still winter, but it's like straight middle winter to summer.
It's close to
like
spring. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's odd that they would release it at this time. It seems like December or January would be the ideal time to release it, especially with Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
You think Christmas would be the number one thing our parents are looking for? Toys for their kid, and they're wanting to get that all out. I don't know why they would choose February. Is it possibly because of imports? I mean, that is
the thing.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the Ruby coverage that I watched. Cough, cough. Thursday.
The live stream, you mean?
Right, the Ruby live stream. Sorry. The thing about the Ruby live stream is that they mentioned that they were having some strikes on the West Coast from the people that import merchandise over, and that's actually why if you're a follower of Ruby, you know, like the Yang figures have not been released until just now, and like the plushies have also not appeared in the RT store, even though they were RTX, and I got one of those at RTX. But the idea is that like they've had a strike over at the West Coast. And because of that, imports are coming in very, very slowly. So it could be, as a, you know, they want these to be out for Christmas, but because of the way things are importing from, you know,
so Lego might be just kind of pushing it back to avoid
trying to have to deal with that. Yeah. Now, if the strike goes away, maybe something will change. I don't know. It could be completely unrelated too, because these figures could have come from like China or something, or they were made by McFarlane Toys. It could have come from another country. But
it also is interesting though, because I'm not really sure if that would be the case though, because since Lego is such an international company, would they really delay one of their bigger lines just because of an issue solely in the U.S.?
The answer is no.
In the U.S. that can
because the answer to that is no, because Lego. This is not an uncommon trend lately, because Hero Factory Invasion from Below Wave 1 was delayed in North America until March, and they never gave a reason why. They just did it. It released worldwide except North America until March. And then the Legends of Chima Summer 2014 construction sets weren't released in North America at all. So,
just imagine.
really, Bionicle could go either way.
Yeah,
this
and
person may just be talking about France. Maybe he just spoke to a local toy shop, and they're
Yeah,
not
see,
getting their
that's-
shipment until February.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, oh, so maybe we're just the only ones getting it in February, and it might actually be released international earlier. But I forgot that this is in fact a French website, so it's more likely that this date is at the very least going to be for France.
Right.
Whether other countries are going to be following this release date is to be seen, but for right now, the idea is that BIONICLE is going to be released on February in France.
Well, Europe's
Exactly.
usually grouped together when it comes to releasing things. Like, when it comes
Yeah,
to video
it is.
games, like, released in America, like, and then it's released in Europe, there's no, like, particular country that
That's
they...
true. The same thing with movies, too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's the same thing here, too. Like, most North American countries gets things at the same time. But,
No, I guess US and Canada. Well, Canada always seems to be a couple days behind, I feel. Either they're right with us or they're a couple of days behind. But they're not too far behind.
yeah. Well, I mean, a few days isn't really a big deal, because we're talking months here
That's
with
true.
releases.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. So, it's really hard to tell what the deal is here, though, because I can't really think of a reason why they would delay it till February, and it's obviously not. It's not a U.S. issue. That might be an issue later down the line. We might not be getting BIONICLE here in the U.S. for a while after the February release because of this strike. But February is such an odd date to me.
Yeah.
I'm placing my bets on either two things. Two things should be kept in mind. Well, actually, three. One, as was aforementioned, there's been a lot of shakeups as far as region releases recently with LEGO Construction, so anything's possible. You know, BIONICLE could be cancelled in the US, it could be European only.
That
Yay.
would really suck.
That would
Yay.
suck. I think
Yeah.
there's a very large BIONICLE market in the US, though. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to.
Yeah, there is.
It has a
The
lot of
second
brand
thing-
recognition.
It would be a really bad
Yeah.
idea to not release
That'd be
BIONICLE in the
stupid.
US.
The second thing, and my personal bet, is that this is just the release for one of his local toy shops that's getting a delayed shipment. Because
That's
it's not
also
a major
possible, too.
retailer.
Right. it's
That's
not
what
a-
I'm.
a
That's
ma-
what I'm
major retail
guessing.
chain.
And that we will see the sets released in January. I do not predict before Christmas. I think we'll see them in January. Possibly worldwide, maybe not.
no.
Yeah.
If it was going to be released before or around Christmas at all, we would have heard something by now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Exactly.
an employee at Toys R Us or something would have picked it up.
Yeah, we would have gotten some kind of set, like release dates or some kind of pictures or something. I mean, granted, we did get the leaks of the display, but that's not enough to assume that it's going to be released by Christmas. And by now, we're looking at late August now. Yeah, we would have gotten something.
Plus, all the
Yeah.
stuff was released, like, a couple of weeks ago, like the, what's it called? The Minecraft sets and stuff. So all that
Well,
came
yeah,
out.
right.
I think
It's a
they would
limited
have been
release.
grouped together.
We only got 2 out of 7 of the pictures for Minecraft.
Yeah,
Right.
like, they would
So
have
it's
come
not
out at
complete
once.
yet. But the Minecraft sets aren't even 2015 releases. They release in November.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
So that
they're
should be
coming
kept
out
in
pretty
mind.
soon. We should have
But-
pictures.
Yeah, I'm betting that the sets are going to be released in January, and this is just some delayed shipment. However, the third thing which should be kept in mind is, if you remember way back when BIONICLE initially launched, it launched in 2000 in Europe and Australia, and 2001 in North America.
Really?
Yes, it did.
Huh.
So,
But
I don't know why
that
history
was
would repeat
also
itself.
that was also way before LEGO was as
Big.
organized as they are now.
That is
Exactly.
true. They're less of a. It's not less of an international release company, but their biggest lines at that point were the Star Wars lines, and nobody really looked forward to a lot of sets. If you went to the store and you saw a new Lego set, you would buy it, but nobody was actively looking out for the sets as much as they are now.
Right.
You know, like Lego City's one of those lines that, like, if they come out with a new set, that's cool. If they don't, you just wait until they do. You're not, you know, it's
Pretty
cool
much,
to see
yeah.
them, but the fans aren't like waited bated breath the new Lego City line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of factors to keep in mind, but I do not think anything's cause for panic just yet. I'm predicting everything's going to go according to plan. But hey, at the end of the day, all this guy really did, definitively, is he did everyone a great service, because he's basically confirming BIONICLE. Because he is a reputable person in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's any shadow of a doubt that BIONICLE is confirmed at this
Right.
But
point.
At
if there's
this point,
still
it's
any
pretty
naysayers, just
Right.
more evidence.
Yeah. I'm sure there are still people waiting for LEGO to make an official announcement, which I'm sure they will eventually, but I have a feeling they're gonna at this point, LEGO's mindset is, well, the cat's out of the bag, we'll make an official announcement when we feel like it now.
Yeah, they're gonna hold it out as long as they possibly can. Just to give themselves
Pretty
time.
much.
Yeah, that's okay. It gives us more time to talk about stuff and keep everybody waiting. If I will say, this is the way to do viral marketing. If LEGO wanted to do like viral marketing, this is the way to do it. They're spreading little leaks and like little bits of information here and there. That kind of thing really gets fan interest up more than it would just an official release. Like an official release, it would be big and then it would die down as the hype goes up until waiting for the
with the way this is, everybody's
guessing. Everybody's looking for any sorts of information. BIONICLE's constantly being talked about because we don't know anything about it. So everybody's looking for information. Everybody's going all over discussing anything they can find. It would be a smart idea in LEGO's future to continue stuff like this.
Yeah, the fan activity is like multiplied like God knows how much since the release of the information about BIONICLE. Even if it was just a rumor, I mean, it gets everybody all up and like interested in it. Even if they weren't active fans, like I've seen people that, they're not fans of BIONICLE, but they remember it from their childhood, and they're like, oh look, BIONICLE may be coming back.
Yeah, the issue with that though is that even if it truly was just a rumor and it ended up only being that
would really suck.
That all that fan dynamic that has resurged would die back down harder than it did before.
This fan state would go back into like this comatose. Will they? Won't they stay? This has got a lot of people excited.
It would honestly be worse than before because there were still those people that were hoping for BIONICLE to come back, and they were still clinging onto the fandom in hopes that they would hear this news one day. And I'm sure that those people, after being hyped up for a potential BIONICLE return, to find out that it's not actually returning, I'm sure that those people would break off at that point.
They'd be crushed.
Yeah, they would break off at that point. So the BIONICLE fandom as a whole would actually be worse off if this was just a rumor than it was before the rumor. So,
right.
Well, that's probably not the case right at this point. So,
well, it's not the case. There is absolutely no way this is a rumor.
Right.
At this point, it is honestly, without LEGO's word, I'd say maybe 99.9% confirmed. That 0.1 is waiting for LEGO confirmation.
We just need the LEGO confirmation, but there's so many coincidences if it isn't true.
Yeah, before I was saying that like if it was a fake, it would have to be crazy elaborate. Now it's just at the point where it's too elaborate to be.
It's too elaborate.
A fake.
I would, if someone orchestrated this, that would be the greatest mastermind.
Yeah, this isn't just like something floating around in one website or anything. This is literally an international
we find
there are countries reporting on different news on the same thing, reporting similar things from different sources. There's no way it's fake.
There's like random bits of information like scattered across the internet, and unless someone's done that like on purpose, which is inhumanly elaborate, then
it would have to be someone with contacts all around the world.
Yeah, like it'd have to be like someone who is like freaking.
I know really? I need to do this for Firefly.
Oh no!
That's when Firefly's coming back. Love TV show. Joss Whedon's back on board.
So you want to kill the whole fandom?
The entire fandom was just like, Firefly's a lot bigger than BIONICLE, though.
That is true. But
we could just do it for Earthbound too. Earthbound's coming back 2016, 17.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so the release date is definitely really odd. February, not sure what to think about it. From right now, though, it does seem like a reliable source, so it's our best bet to think that BIONICLE somewhere will be released on February. And will be available then.
Does anyone know when other toy lines come out? Because that may be another reason why. Because, you see it with, like, movies. Like, you'll have summer blockbuster movies.
They're trying to avoid, like, a Transformers new release or something.
Yeah, like, stuff like that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, so, like, so it doesn't get, like, drowned out by, like, other stuff. They're, like, they want BIONICLE to be out in the open so everybody can see it. Instead of, like,
I've never really thought about that before because LEGO Lego is such a pristine company, like, or not pristine, but like just kind of isolated
prestigious.
and prestigious. Yeah, like they're kind of isolated in the way of how they handle their toys. Not really any other company does it like Lego, except for like the rip-offs of Lego, like Mega Bloks or Creo. Those are really the only companies that Lego actually has any direct competition with. Because, I mean, Hasbro doesn't, like, I can't really see Lego considering Hasbro as competition because it's such a different toy. It's almost in a completely different market.
They're all licensed stuff. They probably sell more, to be honest, because they're all action figures of stuff kids love. At the same time, it's nowhere near the same function. Lego is a construction and creative toy. And Hasbro usually creates more play sets, you know, action figures.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends because if you're going on company income alone, like how much profit they actually make, Lego is way above Hasbro.
That's true.
In that sense.
Yeah.
However, when I think of toys, I feel like Hasbro probably has more of a recognizable brand when I just think toys. See, Lego, to me, doesn't seem like a toy. It's it's its own thing entirely.
Yeah.
Right. There's toys, and then there's like this circle of stuff.
Yeah, there's toys, and then there's Legos.
Right.
It's like
nobody does Lego like Lego.
It's like the building blocks of creativity, literally.
Right. So I mean, I'm not sure if Lego would consider Hasbro a potential rival. I mean, I guess it would, since they're both trying to market towards children and that kind of thing. But I don't know.
But I don't think they'd delay anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they would change release plans specifically for like another company like Hasbro, unless it was like Mega Bloks planning on releasing something similar to BIONICLE, which once again I don't think Lego would do because Mega Bloks has got nothing on Lego.
Yeah, it was just a thought, though.
Which are very, very impressive. Not gonna lie.
Outside of the Halo figures, but that's only because they're licensed.
That is true, but I mean the little minifigures themselves have a lot of articulation that like minifigures do not have.
Right.
Sure. And they used to have like these magnetic constructible figures too.
Even though that Mega Bloks has increased their quality and that they are actually releasing like good things now, they still kind of have that like stigma of just being the worst Lego.
Yeah, the
Lego wannabe.
but for poor kids.
Yeah, that's still the mindset people have for Mega Bloks right now, even if they're starting to increase.
It's like the Internet Explorer of
it is, because like Internet Explorer is actually somewhat usable nowadays.
Right,
but
it's not that bad, but it still has that stigma.
It's still Internet Explorer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was just a thought, and it's good to put that out there.
No, it's okay.
It is whatever. A good thought. I'm glad you mentioned it because that didn't spark some discussion there. So.
Whatever constructible stuff are there? Whatever lines, like there's Connects.
Wow.
I know. There's like Lincoln Logs, maybe. There's erector sets.
Zoobs.
Zoobs. Never heard of that.
They're like these little building things.
As far as action figures go, I'm not really sure because Lego's main market here is buildable action figures.
Not Lego's main market. Lego's BIONICLE's main market is buildable action.
Well, that's what I meant. Okay, but for BIONICLE, we're talking about BIONICLE here. So.
Fair.
But like, it's interesting because Lego always manages to make its own genre for things. So buildable action figures now are almost a completely different thing than just Legos now. So you've got like toys, where I kind of just lump everything there, and then you've got Legos, where you kind of lump buildable stuff, and you've got buildable action figures, which are yet again a whole nother thing.
Right. And the thing about buildable action figures is that if you don't make it like distinctly put into parts, they don't work. I remember there was one episode, I think of The Apprentice, where they tried to do the same thing, buildable action figures, except it was just all these different action figures, and the limbs could just come off, and like the hands and stuff. You could just rearrange them on different characters.
Oh, kind of like those things that you can get, like those monster things with magnetic connection things.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
I remember those.
Right. So they just don't look at, and you can't do so many creative things with them.
Yeah, you can't do anything with it.
You just put a different hand on a different soldier, or like different head on somebody. There's not much you can do with that. You have to be able to break it into the little Technic parts and be able to build them all together and make amazing mocks and stuff like that. That's Lego's
that's the main driving force for buying.
Even stuff like, I think outside of like the Lego the brick clones, the next thing I would say is competition of that is Connects. I feel like that's like the second stuff that's really not related to Lego at all.
I honestly haven't seen anything connects
For a very long time. Yeah, I haven't either.
They have not been relevant. But they used to have like little action figures as well. I used to have some of those. And
what about
like
Creo?
Stuff.
Creo is definitely building itself up.
Creo is coming into vogue, yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like Creo also has that kind of stigmatism of the want to be Lego, like the Lego wannabe.
Right.
Because I mean, like you've even got like Robot Chicken skits about how it's not nearly as good as Lego.
Right. You know that's the.
It's like Creo is basically what's going on is Mega Bloks is becoming an actual company that's worth something, and then Creo is just filling in that role of the not as good as Lego.
Yeah.
They have like Transformers, right? And that's basically it.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, is Creo a subsidiary of Hasbro?
I do not know, but probably.
It is. I'm on the website right now. There's the Hasbro logo up there. So Creo is kind of like it's a knockoff company that's owned by a much bigger company.
Yeah, it's basically Hasbro's attempt at kind of getting in on this buildable
I was
market.
thinking like, oh, that's weird. So they have Transformers, they have G.I. Joe, they have Dungeons and Dragons, I guess, and Cityville.
Huh. So some of those are big names then.
Yeah.
So
G.I. Joe was big like a year ago or a couple of years ago with G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Hasbro themes, so that makes sense. I'm assuming if Disney opened up their own knockoff brand, they'd have all the Star Wars and like I guess they're already licensed to Lego, but if they were not, it would just be
Disney really could open up their own.
They really could,
but I don't think they really want to. I mean, does Disney really need any more money?
Yeah,
I mean, they could.
You always need more money, Mark. You always need more.
Everybody's basically the empire at this
Disney
point.
is Walter White.
Everything.
Yes, they are in the empire.
And on that note,
spoilers,
I think it's probably
Walter
time.
White makes meth.
I think it's probably time we move on.
Yeah, probably. I think we discussed that one a bit. So.
Yeah.
But it actually transitions fairly nicely, talking about Bionicle, its proposed release date, and stuff. There's some other things that could potentially impact Bionicle's revival, such as some changes in the Lego Club magazine. Now, I can summarize this fairly quickly. It's a pretty simple thing that's happening.
It's depressing.
But it has some ramifications. Starting in September, in Europe, all LEGO Club members who are older than 13 years old will receive a notice that it is their last subscription. Then in November, it will be all of Europe, so I guess previously it was just Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And in November, it's all of Europe. And then starting in 2015, it will be global. The Club magazine will focus its distribution and experience only towards 12-year-olds and younger.
You know what that means?
So
Bionicle's going to be aimed at younger kids if it's in the Lego Club magazine.
Actually, alright, so
Not
this
necessarily.
makes sense. Remember when that last time people kept asking Greg, are you making the Bionicle comic? And he says, we have no Bionicle comic plan. He also said that he was working on the first issue of the Lego magazine. Now,
okay, that does make sense, because
Right.
I remember we were talking about that before.
right,
Like, it's
we were
weird
like,
that he would
that's
say
weird.
the first
Why-
issue.
Yeah, he said like not the first issue of like the year. It's not like the leading issue of the year. He was like the first issue. Like they're doing a new thing. This
So
is
it's
that new
being
thing. It's
retooled.
phasing out in November. In January, they're launching a new Lego magazine for younger kids. That also explains why Bionicle comics are not being written, because they have no means to
Thank
distribute them by.
Goodness. I would not.
So-
Well,
that would.
we don't know for certain if Bionicle comics are.
Yeah, but they won't be in the
what we
Lego
know,
Club magazine.
That is true. But I mean, like, there are comics written for like a lot of other lines. I went to the
yeah,
comics
that's what I was.
store the
That's
other
what I
day.
was
There's,
about to say.
Adventure Time.
Bionicle's not the only Lego line that has comics in the Lego Club. There's
Oh,
a ton
yeah.
of them in every issue, and it will probably have a comic like that, and it will be geared towards a younger crowd.
Yeah, no,
if it's
and
there.
like Viper, we also don't know for a fact if Bionicle comics will be in the Lego Club magazine or not. We just know that Greg is not involved with writing it.
Okay,
that is
right.
also technically true. Well,
But I
say
predict
I
they were
doubt-
not doing it?
Lego comics are no longer a thing that is as big as it used to be. Hero Factory stopped theirs years ago. What they do instead nowadays for stuff like Ninjago, they have graphic novels licensed through paper cuts that tell original self-contained stories.
And I also noticed that Hero Factory kind of has like comic-ish things in their instruction manuals. I'm assuming things like that might be included in the Lego Club magazine.
They might have a bigger set and include a Bionicle comic inside that. You know, as a bonus feature or something.
I do not doubt there will be some kind of supplemental Bionicle material. However,
definitely.
I do doubt that comics will be the primary form of storytelling media like it was prior.
Let's face it, it's going to be a TV show.
Yep. It's time to face facts, people.
Right. There is going to be a TV show. It is going to be based off Bionicle. That's going to happen. It feels like everything's wrapping up just in time to lead into a Bionicle
It's
TV
certainly
show.
heading towards that direction.
What about the books?
I think books aren't going to be a thing anymore.
Wow, that means Greg will be almost completely cut out from stuff.
I mean, like, there will probably be books, but I don't think they're going to be as frequent as Bionicle books used to be. I certainly don't think Lego is going to be advertising them much.
Here's the thing. Ninjago and Chima books do exist. I have not read them. To my knowledge, they do not tell the main story. They tell side stories, kind of like the serials.
Right.
Or stuff with the main characters just taking place in between episodes of the TV show. The TV show is the main story. Now, Hero Factory had books, they were cancelled. So I don't know if Bionicle's going to have books. They haven't cancelled the Chima or Ninjago books, they're still around.
But those are
maybe
the main stories, so...
Yes, they're supplemental. The main story will be told through TV show. There's no chance.
Basically, what we're getting at here is that there's a possibility there will be Bionicle books, and there's a possibility that there will be Bionicle comics, but both of them are going to be different than what we know them as.
Right.
They will not be the same that we are used to.
For better or for worse?
For better
Probably
or for worse.
for worse, because I don't think they're going to be aimed at us.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people, when Bionicle ended, they want a Bionicle that's geared towards them, but they don't realize in the 5 years since it's been going, your tastes have really evolved. Like, back in 2010... Right, I was like, I was not at the level I'm at now, where I'm consuming stuff like Breaking Bad, or like, all these other shows, True Detective, like all this stuff at a constant rate. And I'm kind of, even though I know Bionicle isn't meant for me, I still kind of want personally that kind of tone applied to it. It can't happen because, I'm not the target market. And a lot of the kids who left Bionicle in 2010 are going to come back and they're like, if they were 11, they're like 16 now. If they were like 12, they're 17. So it's not going to be the same or the way you're expecting it to. It's going to be aimed at a younger audience just by nature. It's going to be aimed at you, but 5 years ago.
Maybe that's why, we're not much of a fan of the TV, the Chima TV shows, because they've aimed the humor and everything's meant to be aimed for younger kids. And because
definitely.
Our tastes have changed since then. We want more, a lot of people my age are into, darker things, more action, more gritty things, but that's not for kids, so... Why they wouldn't do that, because that's...
To be fair, the mindset of Lego has changed a bit.
Right.
The Chima TV show is not the same style of humor that they would have been using 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Quite.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to say that it's only our taste that has changed, that's not entirely true. However, that is
a part of it.
Point that should be that is a point that should be addressed because that is a part of the process. That is why we wouldn't find Chima interesting, because our tastes personally have changed
alongside
from
Lego's
what our
taste
taste would be as the target audience.
And also what you say about the nostalgia thing, we want that thing to come back and be like what we remembered it as, something amazing, but it probably won't satisfy every single fan's nostalgia having Bionicle come back, because it's not gonna be the same.
And, I mean, with nostalgia, we also kind of forget some of the bad, the not as good aspects that were there.
We kind of glossed that over.
Yeah, we kind of focus on the things that we really liked, not so much the things that we disliked. I always bring it to attention, the Unica builds were just prevalent every single year. The set designs weren't quite as great. People harp on LJ for pointing out that blue pins are a con, but they are very well a con.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember there's
people-
one point people were mad at him for critiquing the O1 sets. They're like, "Oh, you shouldn't. These have no problems because they're originals." And
Yeah,
like,
they're
"No,
perfect.
No.
Yeah, the
It's like,
movies.
yeah, people don't like to hear the negatives. They only want to hear the positive things.
Yeah, the movies are
Basically, it's
very
like
cheesy, but nobody.
like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I hooked up my Nintendo 64. Started to play an old game of mine called Star Wars Pod Racer. Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer on Nintendo 64. One of the greatest games of my childhood. It looked like crap. It looked terrible. I was playing, I was like, I don't remember it looking so bad. And that's because when I played it, when I used to play it as a really young kid, it was the state of the art back then. It was like, it was amazing. And that image in my mind just kept evolving the more I saw more complicated stuff done. I just thought it was, it looked better.
Well,
So
it's
that
like-
kind of thing also comes back where like if they just came and redid the old stuff, you'd be like, it's a lot more problematic than I remember it being.
Yeah, it's like it's the whole reason things like HD remakes are like a thing now. It's why Halo CE has Halo Anniversary now, or why the Solus Magna guys are trying to make an HDified Minog. It's because things back then aren't quite as great as we remember it, but we'd like to experience it again in a more presentable fashion.
Yeah, well, it's like I return when I returned to Bionicle. I watched the movies and I read the books again, and like I thought they were absolutely perfect when I was younger, but I can see flaws in them now. Like definitely the movies, they're really cheesy. There's parts where it's like I can't even barely watch the screen. I'm like, this is so cheesy.
Yeah, and the movies are pretty bad.
Yeah.
In retrospect, yeah, they are definitely geared towards us as kids. Looking at back now, it's a bit more, and that's going to be the big thing too. I feel like a lot of people are going to critique the TV show when it comes back. It's not really going to be that different from the movies.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I have a feeling that a lot of people, like fans now, will look at the TV show and say, oh, this is awful, it's for kids, it's way too kid-friendly, why can't they treat Bionicle Dark like they used to? And then you just have to show them Minog.
Right.
Or
It's
not Minog,
Mask of Light.
yeah, Mask of Light.
It
Right.
was the supplemental material that was slightly more serious. The main forms of media were always...
Right, they're
And-
always a
Lighthearted.
bit more kid skewed, and I
And-
feel people have kind of forgotten that a bit.
And you wonder why they didn't make a movie for 06, 7, or 8, because they were too dark. There's no way.
is
true.
Like, talking about Tahu being nearly killed in, like, a fan favourite in a movie, yeah, that's not gonna go down with a lot of kids. The heroes being killed at the
I think
end,
it's just
and then the movie ends, and you're like, oh, where the Tahu? Oh!
It's just like the Dark Island 2 and like the horrible
Island of
skull
Doom.
faces. They were literally
Oh, yeah.
skulls.
And,
Yeah, it's like they
No, no,
make
no,
a
no.
movie for
Gangsters.
08, and they make a movie for 08, and it ends with Makuta taking over the universe.
Right, like, yeah, Motoro dies, and everyone's like, oh my god, that was such a noble sacrifice. And then, like, Makuta's there. It's like, nope, your friend died for nothing.
Yeah, there's like this part in 06 where the Matoran are like enslaved and you can hear them screaming and there's just darkness and you're like, oh my god.
Now, granted, would that have been an awesome movie that I would have
That
loved
would have
to
been
watch?
so
yes,
cool.
totally.
But not for
But
kids
I can understand
though.
why Lego would have been like, let's maybe not go all the way through this.
Yeah, you know, that's why they can get away with it in the books, but in visuals, no way. You couldn't get away with that. That'd
Well,
be like...
You possibly could. Avatar did it very well. I feel like if they try to play it safe, which they probably will, they won't. But they want to try and do something new and try to push the boundaries and the envelope of what can be done
Yeah.
with the Bionicle TV show. They might get somewhere. I want to do a whole thing about the Bionicle TV show.
If
Like,
that
what
ever
needs to be done
happened,
to make it good.
I'd be extremely happy, but I'm not gonna hype myself up to say that there's something like that's gonna happen, and it doesn't, because I don't expect it to. But yeah, it's like... all this...
Right.
What the hell just happened? Oops. Alright, yeah, what just happened? What?
Find your words, Viper. Find
Wow,
your words.
Viper.
I just blanked out, sorry. Just continue.
Okay. Well, does anybody else have anything to say? Meso? Bar?
Not especially. We can probably
As far
move
as
on
this
to the
topic
next one.
goes, now I think we covered it pretty well.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, so Bionicle news is that was our Bionicle news for the week. We've got a
Pretty much.
possible release date, and also probably no Bionicle comics in the Lego magazine.
Possibly, yeah. Probably, honestly.
Yeah.
It's weird. I wonder how they're planning on like issuing out this to only 12-year-olds. Like, can't you just lie about your age?
Yeah,
I
thought,
don't know, yeah.
I said
think
about
they
that.
just-
I was just like, why don't you just create a new account and like fake your age?
I think it's less of like we're going to only distribute it to 12-year-olds, and more like we want to gear this magazine towards 12-year-olds, and we're restricting that. So people are like, oh, the magazine used to be, you know, this and this and this, and they're like, we're aiming strictly at young kids. That's what the magazine's going to be geared towards from now on. Which is, I don't know. To be honest, the magazine really has geared or leaned towards kids recently, as opposed to originally. Back when like Lego Mania magazine was around, which was freaking awesome, by the way. But that might be nostalgia, you know, like we talked about before. Who knows? But I loved the Lego Mania magazine. It was a lot bigger, a lot thicker, had a lot of... The big things that had a lot of alternate building instructions in it. I don't think you really see that a lot anymore. But I remember you used to get the Toa Kaida. They were featured in the Lego magazine, and you could build that there. Different things like that.
Yup. An important caveat before we end is that you can still buy the magazines from Lego stores. So no matter your age.
Right.
You just
get
won't get
there.
them for free.
Well, you also like it'll be geared towards a different audience. I feel like that's the thing they're trying to make. So
Yeah.
they might be actually doing a rebranding, like I talked about before when Greg made that mention of the first issue and stuff. They might be doing a rebranding of the Lego Club magazine.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't know. It does seem a little strange, though. So, I guess, so this means you're basically canceling the old Lego magazine, then, completely.
Basically, yes.
Basically, yeah.
Weird. It's been such a long time. It's an odd thing to just stop doing, but, yeah.
Man, I
Yeah.
remember Lego Mania magazine, and that was like was Zach the Lego Maniac?
Yeah. So really quick, before we end today, there are a couple more things that I'd like to mention involving 2015 superhero set releases. Because a guy on Eurobricks by the name of Hulk Smash has gave us descriptions for the DC sets and claims that there will be 5 Age of Ultron sets and sets based on Jurassic World, which there was a rumor of a couple months ago. It's
Okay.
not even remotely related to DC or Marvel, but that's coming.
Right.
Jurassic World.
Chris Pratt's in that, so
Yeah, he's everywhere.
he is.
So according to him, Gorilla Grodd Goes Bananas will include Wonder Woman's invisible jet, Batman riding a mech, and the Flash, and Gorilla Grodd is a big fig like the Hulk.
Okay. All right.
Black Manta Deep Sea Strike, Batman will be riding a bat sub.
Ugh.
Black Manta will have a larger sub. Robin is tied up to something, and Aquaman will be there rescuing him.
Did he say any indication of which Aquaman it was? Is this same Aquaman or a different one?
Probably the same one, but maybe a different one.
All right. Still, it's
He
pretty
didn't
good.
specify. Darkseid Invasion, nothing except Darkseid will be a big fig like the Hulk.
Yes.
And Superman is in the set.
New 52 Superman? Maybe? Possible?
Did not specify,
Red
probably.
underwear?
And then finally, Brainiac Attack will include the Javelin, which is the Justice League's jet. Minifigures include Brainiac, Superman, Hawkman, Supergirl, and a Brainiac drone.
That's better than I could have ever hoped for. Hawkman and Supergirl? What?
I'm glad if you were excited.
I'm excited for this. I might need to pick up this entire line. I don't have the money to, but I'll find some way to get some of the, at least the minifigures. Hawkman, it's gonna be big. Javelin, I haven't seen a Javelin used in the Justice League comic in freaking forever, because everybody just eventually gained the ability to fly or get there somewhere. You know?
Yeah. I do find it hilarious they managed to squeeze Batman into 3 of those sets.
I know, but you know, it's better that they have that instead of having 5 Batman sets with 1 or 2 Justice League members.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's just these poor people out there that have about 10 Batmans.
Right.
They like have a
They bought
Batman wardrobe. They
Aquaman.
open it and there's just a tsunami of Batman figs just come out.
Yep.
And then like the actual sets are in the like this tiny little box. It's just the Batman sets.
Yeah. And then, the final thing I want to mention is Ankier on Eurobricks alerted everybody to the fact that a guy by the name of Matt Bettaker posted high-quality versions of the first half-year Invasion from Below packaging art to his Coroflot.com page, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. I guess it's design and concept illustrations.
It's like a concept site.
Yeah, and these are some very awesome illustrations, and I'm glad we have those in HD. But another guy, a Lego designer apparently, Christophe Rotier, I believe is how you pronounce his name, added the Chima construction sets, superhero construction sets, Hero Factory, Bionicle, and, what I find most interesting, the Lego character and creature building system. A diagram of it, and what it is, how it's meant to work. So now whenever anybody asks, what is this system, I can just defer them to this picture. And it's very in-depth, and it talks about what exactly its purpose was. Gives illustrations of all the different pieces you can use in it. Sizes. It's very useful. Handy resource.
Indeed.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
let's see, what does this paragraph
Really
say?
interesting.
He was part of this project right from the start, designing a completely new modular building system. Based on an improved version of the ball cup connector from Bionicle, this platform is the foundation for every LEGO action figure line since. Consisting of 3 layers, the system offers a quick and easy building experience as an entry level down to an age of 5 years, but at the same time allows advanced building possibilities for older kids. Combining the LEGO idea of creativity and play with the sturdy build for rough action play, the new platform offers a unique way of creating your own action figures. Just like the LEGO bricks, the bones and shells of the system come in modular links to enable different proportions and scales. And they compare the bones to actual LEGO bricks, and apparently they're equivalent sizes, which is interesting.
I
to
didn't
me.
really think about that, but I guess they really are. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, they put a lot more thought into it than you would have initially thought.
I mean, designers
Yeah.
usually put a lot more thought into it that a consumer doesn't really think about, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Viper's like,
Well,
the skeptic.
no, I'm just agreeing.
What do you think about the character and creature building system?
Well, I think it's alright. Works. It doesn't break. This doesn't have that. It doesn't have that like miscalculation issue like Bionicle had. Like when the ball joints like were slightly bigger than the actual socket and it broke all the time. So I don't really have much to complain about it. Really,
Yeah. You are
I'm not-
in the minority.
I'm not exactly a specialist when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
your reaction was so funny. But no, now I love this. I can just defer this to people.
right.
if only these sets were released in the U.S. Talking about you, Chima.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
But
how we're
no,
gonna
that's
get
pretty
these.
much it.
I'm kind of really disappointed because I do need white armor pieces to complete my self-mock. And I am not able to get any of those. So,
Wait, white armor pieces?
yep, I'm gonna settle for some Stormer stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, why are you not able to get them? The Chiba sets barely have any exclusive ones.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
I like
armor
the
sets and
translucent blue stuff too because that's part
You
of
can
it.
get all
You can
that
get that.
in
Yeah,
Factory.
you can get that invasion from below. The teal.
Crystal Beast.
The teal
really?
trans.
Yeah, most of these crystal pieces as well as the white pieces you can all get in Hero Factory.
Well then, yeah. You
My,
can
my,
screw
I should know
yourself.
my self-mock is white, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty much it, honestly. I cannot think of much more
Indeed.
to discuss, unless you guys want to chime in some stuff.
Not really. I will say that the Hero Factory art almost reminds me of the artwork that Bionicle got towards 2010.
Yeah.
Towards the end there. Reminds me of
Yeah.
a similar style.
I think.
I love that
I
artwork.
think they used like the that kind of style for Hero Factory, like as a kind of like a building block at first. Like the whole style. Yeah.
It's a shame that concept for this theme was so good and the actual show was so bad.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the concept art. It always looks really cool.
It's kind of weird. It seems like they put a lot of effort into thinking about Invasion from Below, but then they just dropped the ball with the TV show.
Well, then they were like, "Hey, we're gonna get Ghost, and we're gonna have great animation." Yeah, I forget Kahi actually likes it.
No, I liked it a lot. I thought it was the best one so far.
I don't know, man.
I will say that until the end. I've seen all of them, mind you. It's not like I haven't. I've seen every single one of them. Invasion from Below is definitely my favorite.
You're so shallow. I expected more.
It has the best animation out of all of them. The story is self-referential. It's self-parodying. They do the thing where they kill the queen at the end. That's so parody, man.
That's so parody.
It's a kids' TV show.
So parody.
It's a kids' TV show. I'm pretty sure a lot of kids don't know what parody is.
That's so parody.
Right. It's not so Raven anymore. It's just so parody.
Wow.
Came so late in the game.
Yeah, I know, right? We're just about to end.
Yep.
But no, I think that's a good place to leave it.
Okay.
Right.
Can I tell a story?
Lots of Bionicle discussion. Kai, I don't know, man.
It's a quick story.
We're at 56 minutes.
It's a quick story.
Yeah, no, let's go ahead and finish.
It'll be 4 minutes, and then we can cut it off at an hour.
No.
Come on.
No.
What is this?
Just remember, Bars the one that edits this.
No, you can. Okay, all right. Once upon a time.
No.
Right?
No. Tell me what the story is about.
The story is about a very quick prank that we pulled on a friend.
No.
Yes.
No. It has no place in this episode. We'll do it some other time.
How does American history have a place in this episode?
That was at the start, before we moved on to the actual discussion. Now you're trying to
say something, and you're like, "Meso, do you want to carry on to the news?" And I was like, "All right, wait for the end of the news."
Well, you should have said it. I also, before the episode started, I said we're going to have the discussion last 10 minutes, and we are at the 11-minute mark. So, yeah, go screw yourself, dude. Let's end this episode.
Wow.
Yeah, this episode's starting to drift apart.
It's okay, Kai.
I thought we didn't have any news. That's what I was hoping for. I honestly, like, whenever we have news, it just ends up being, okay.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? That Bionicle news is important?
I'm saying that news, like, a lot of the news is
No, Kai, get out. Get out of here.
This is the
Go
podcast.
jump out of Viper's window.
This is
jump out a window,
man.
Kai.
We should be
Go watch Ruby live stream.
Rooster Teething up in here and talk about
Rooster Teeth is stupid. That's in the episode.
Okay.
personal
I'm sorry,
stuff.
Kai.
All right, fine.
Kahi, you're fired.
Post a topic about it on the forum. You can do that.
It's because I said I was LG at the beginning of this episode, isn't it?
Yes,
I can't evade
yes,
the
it
curse.
Well, I thank you all for listening to TTV episode 111. Be sure to rate, favorite, like, comment, subscribe, share. I did that first so you wouldn't cut me off. Haha. And do all this crazy stuff. Make sure to post about it on the forum.
Oh crap!
We love your participation.
We didn't do the forum thing, did we?
No, we did not.
Okay.
We will see you next time on the next exciting episode of the TTV Podcast. I'm Messanek.
I'm Vardaran.
I'm Kahi.
I'm Viper.
And goodbye!
Oh wait, no, I'm Vandaran. That's so parody.
It's a parody. Invasion Below is correct. I swear. We're gonna. Okay. We're gonna.